What up, fellas?
What's going on, sir? How everybody doing this weekend?
What it look
I mean,
like?
this
What it
week.
look like?
I'm still on the weekend, dog. What it look like?
You should be rolling heavy, baby, after that big weekend out there bowling, man. You put
What's
it
going
down.
on, sir? Yeah, man, I had a great
What it
weekend.
look
I mean,
like?
I
What it
must
look
admit,
like?
man, I did my thing. Still on the weekend. I ain't gonna lie to you. What
Well,
it look?
you should be.
Live and direct.
That was me. Sorry,
Yeah,
y'all.
we're
It's
hearing.
okay. I it's live and direct.
I had the wrong thing muted and the right thing unmuted.
Oh, we were talking and weren't being heard.
It was spitting back through the tablet because I got a monitor going.
Feedback.
Cool.
Welcome everyone to the Get Established show. We are live. It is October 7th, 2024. We got the fellas in the house.
Yes,
D
indeed.
Jones.
Hey, what it is. Hey, I want to jump this right off, and I want to talk about belief systems. Where do we get our belief systems? How do we believe what we believe? Where did it even come from? A child is born in this world, and they're taught fear by their parents. We come up with all these ideas of what we believe, and do we have any facts to prove that our belief system even exists? How do you feel about that, Chilla?
I feel like, man, belief is something. You always hear me. I always tell you, belief is a false sense of not knowing, and I always say that because as I got older, I realized I rather have facts with anything than somebody telling me you believe. Because I can believe, like I always say, you can believe the moon is cheese, but we don't have no proof. You can believe in the Loch Ness monster, but unless you got the Loch Ness monster with you, we ain't got no proof. You can believe the Bigfoot, unless you dragging a Bigfoot down the street. Hey, I ain't got no proof. But believe is something that is in that person. But evidence, when you go to court, you can't be on trial and say, "Well, I believe." They want to see evidence in court. And the problem with most people, they want to live off belief. And belief is a false sense. They don't have no facts. They don't have the evidence. And when you believe in something, it's most times somebody either put that thought in your head, that idea, like you can say, I believe the sun is 3 billion miles away. And somebody else would say, man, I don't believe the sun, but like probably about 200,000 miles away. But you don't have the facts unless you got a measurements tape and you fly all the way to the sun and put it up to the sun and come all the way back. We don't know. People say, I can beam light. I can do whatever somebody tell you. All it takes is somebody to get on TV, act like he know more than us, and give you the numbers. And you sit there and you listen to it because you think he's a specialist and you'll believe it. And
go ahead, I got part of that, Chris. Chilla. Because some things that you believe are facts. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like everything that you believe you don't kind of pulled it out of thin air or somebody told you. Some things have been actually you have concrete evidence, and that's how you determine what a belief is. There are some things that we believe on faith, and we believe because of the way our minds were shaped. It's just like, for instance, Americans, sometimes are deemed around the world as a little bit arrogant because of, we think everybody, everywhere we go, everybody's supposed to speak English. Well, part of our belief in our upbringing and in our molding as a child is our language or languages. And what you'll find is other countries, they speak multiple languages. Where over here, predominantly, I'm not saying that people haven't done it, but mostly people in their formative years speak English, and that's their only language.
Yeah,
so that's all I'm saying. Some things are what they are,
I mean, well, you got to break that down to me. What part of belief or evidence that we don't have to count? I mean, because like I said, when they already told me that this is good for me, I got to believe that. When they tell me that this meat is not going to kill me, I got to believe that. When they tell me the chemtrails ain't harming me, I got to believe that. Whatever they tell me, I got to believe that. But I see something totally different that be occurring, and people are getting sick as these things going on. People starting to fight as these things going on. And you start seeing a high rate of diabetes and cancer. Well, it ain't sugar gonna cause this, but you keep believing. Then they change the narrative, change the story. Later, years later, after they done had the studies, after they done used us as guinea pigs, putting out certain stuff, making all this corn syrup and all this, and then we get the effect and we start getting sick. Then they start changing slowly but surely. A lot of this stuff is about money or control, or even got our thoughts to believe whatever. So break this down, because you said, I know Raymond said this is a great big narrative. We can go in many ways with this. I'm just trying to see your perspective. What you mean, some of the belief systems, it got facts. I mean, who and what and who gave us these facts? I mean, 1,000 years ago, they was more intelligent than it is the science today. Thousands of years ago, they had machinery that was greater than today. Thousands of years ago, when they came up with the concepts of everything the world was around, they was better than what they are today. Or they just put it in a book and we took the book and we learned the book. And this is the information that we believe is to be the truth.
I'm gonna come back to you on that, but Sean, I know you got a statement. Go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna say this. A lot of our beliefs come from the past as far as what was given to us. Okay, like when you are taught hey, look, you can eat, you're gonna have a variety of things. Like, say, let's go with food. It's a variety of things that are put in front of you. Chicken, corn, tomatoes, lettuce, whatever you want to say. You are taught that this is the food that you eat. I'm talking about as a young, from a babe to a young child. You are taught basically what's good and what's not good. You yourself know from experimentation, meaning trying what's good and what's not good. Because you're gonna as a child, some things you're not gonna like, some things you're gonna like more than others. And most of the time, and this is just real, when it comes to eating, like, say for instance, most kids like sweet, sugary things. When they're exposed to that, they're gonna eat that because why? It tastes good and it tastes sweet. That's not saying it's right.
And it's a chemical reaction as well.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. It's just in your mind, you saying, "Hey, look, it's good," because you tried it.
We got a comment from Dion Boone. We were definitely given our beliefs by whoever raised us,
meaning
and
parents.
I think that's true. That's a lot of truth to that, because that shapes a lot of the direction of how we move and how we do things. Where our guardrails are, and things of that nature. Not that you take everything that your parents teach you as what you're going to do with your life, but it does give you some parameters to play in. And then when you have some misfortune, and they kind of told you not to do whatever that misfortune was, you're like, okay, well, maybe they're right. Maybe I need to fall back in line.
That's good. Yeah. That's good. I like that. That's good. That's good, Big. See, remember, when just like when your mama tell you, don't go outside and be jumping on them wheelies on them bikes. Don't be on them wheelies. Worst thing you do a wheelie, because mama ain't told me I could do it. I could do it. Bam, bust your head open. You trying to go say, oh, well, mama,
she gonna say, I told you that.
What happened to you? What you do? I hit my head. Did I tell you not to go out there doing them popping the wheelies?
Well, what they got to do with belief, though, man? You know what I'm saying? If I believe I can do a wheelie,
listen to what
I believe I can do a wheelie, I get out there and do a wheelie.
Being said, you remember initially you taught by your parents, so your parents is gonna teach you right from wrong, what to do and what not to do, because based off of how they're experiencing and then them molding you, because you they child. So your belief system start with your parents.
But see, the problem with that.
Let me just say this one part. It's just like, yeah, you're right. It do start off with our parents. Over 85% of us started off with our parents telling us a damn lie about Santa Claus. A fat man squeezing down a chimney. Then most people didn't even have chimneys. They would creep down this chimney to bring you toys. We started off with a belief system, started with a lie.
Okay.
And you know what?
Go in with that.
He got a hold on. He got a point though.
I mean, now we get into the heart of what
fairy.
Go ahead, Dirk.
Well, what I was gonna say is, man, I hear what you're saying about what the belief system is taught, but different belief systems are different for different people. If you look around the world, there are different belief systems taught throughout the world, and just like I said earlier, Depending on how you grew up, your belief system could be very different than the next person. You could grow up in a poverty-stricken situation, and the things that you believe and you hold on to are going to be totally different than somebody that grows up in a wealthy situation. Just like you talked about Santa Claus and the black community, and that was taught throughout our community. I'm not saying in a Caucasian community or Asian community that wasn't taught, but that was taught. I was what 9, 10 years old before I realized there was no Santa Claus, and that was some nonsense.
Me
And
personally, I never knew Santa Claus.
I
was taught
say, but that's what I'm saying. It depends on your situation, because your dad
I
would
was
be
taught
like,
to read.
"I'm Santa Claus. I'm doing
That's
this."
right. I'm
But-
your
but-
Santa Claus.
But
Don't believe what's on TV. I'm your
that's
Santa
why I
Claus.
say it
See,
depends
now,
on your
that's
situation.
facts. That's truth. That ain't a belief. He let you know facts. See, we grew up believing. Go ahead.
So and I say that to say you can even look at school. When you go to school, the history that we're taught, the history that we are taught is not true. It's not true. It's a lot of variables left out. They don't even talk about a lot of things. And then the things they do talk about, they twist the narrative to make it seem like it was a positive situation in American history. And we all know at this point in our lives that a lot of that was a lie. Now, with that being said, that means the educational system has lied to us. And our parents pushed us to go to the educational system, preach to us how positive and how beneficial it would be to us. And we're finding out now that that's simply not the truth. Now, there are some things that you need to get from education. I will agree with that. But a lot of that nonsense that we learn, depending on what level of education you go to, a lot of that stuff that you're taught, you don't even use. So I wonder, like, what is true? And this is the thing. Do you think truth, that their truth, or what they tell you to believe is used as a source of control?
Yes,
Give us an example.
definitely.
Give us an example.
The
Hold on,
reason
Chris.
go ahead.
Hold on, Chris. Give us an example, D,
Or example, what we talking about? Of
of
control.
something that they tell us that's not true.
Oh, well, let's talk about let's talk about the medical field. When they tell you that I see that diabetes runs in your family. Come on.
Okay.
Come on,
I see
dog.
what you're saying with that.
That diabetes doesn't run in your family. What runs in your family is the diet. That's what runs in your family. Diabetes doesn't run in your family.
The word they use is hereditary.
And where they screen you, so if you have a relative that had any form of cancer, they say, well, we want to start checking your prostate. We want to start checking your breast for breast cancer, for lumps. We want to do this. We want to do that because you have a history in your family of cancer. You have a history in your family of high blood pressure. Come on, dog. Come on.
But look, they even crazy. They don't even ask a question. So when did this history start? Did it start back in the 1400s? Did it start back in the 1500s? Did it start in, well, no cancer around it. When did it start? Did it start when y'all start doing stuff and putting injections in us, vaccinations in us, giving us the poison food? Did the cancer start then? Did my grandmama, because when she ate, she had diabetes? Did my great-great-great-great-great-grandmama have her legs detached with diabetes? See, this is what people don't even question because somebody told you something, you took on the concept, you took on the belief. Whatever they put in your head, then you live and run with it. Oh, yeah, man, it's hereditary in my family. Oh, yeah, we get cancer. But how many generations back did it start? They don't ask that question. They don't do research to go back and study their great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmama, great-great-great-great-granddaddy to see that they had diabetes, that they had cancer. This is the stuff we're talking about. Believing is somebody who giving you their thought and idea and their hypothesis. And when we talk about education, who wrote the books? Did my grandmama write the book? Did my great-great-great-great-great-great-granddaddy write the book? Now, if you're talking from a black perspective or an Indian perspective or African perspective, how do they know more than my great ancestors? Did my great ancestors give them the book? Did my great ancestors write the education? Or did a man who's opposite of me wrote the education? And then I took on his narrative and the belief or system of me feeling inferior. And then he's more I'm the minority and all this old stuff. Where did that concept come from? That's a belief that somebody gave me. And I used to have to read it. So it programmed in my brain constantly because I'm reading this stuff. People, only majority of the people where they believe somebody gave them the thought and the idea to believe what they believe. It ain't something that you discovered on yourself. You didn't create a rocket and went to space. You didn't go back in time to see these people and talk to them. You didn't go back to 1700. You don't know the facts. You only know what somebody told you and gave you and put in a book.
And not only that, then they on the compound all of that, going back to the medical field, they're telling you there's no cure for cancer. There's no cure for HIV. There's no cure for all these diseases that they talk about. And people believe that. People actually believe that. They believe that certain conditions that they have, that once they acquire that condition, it's over. I'm stuck with it for my life, or I'm gonna die because of it. Come on, man. Come on. So I go back to the question I had prior to me breaking this down and Chris talking about what he talked about. Mm-hmm. Is the belief system that we're given used as control?
I said definitely, man. Is it even when you talk about education? And see, Big, I want you to be real with me today, man. You brought me into this life of just even being self-aware on, how to grow wealth and how to read books and how to open my mind to know that I need to be an entrepreneur and not to be a slave of the system, to learn to be independent, and I shouldn't be working for a 9-to-5 and just all I want to work for is benefits. Because see, even when it starts in school, you are taught to be a servant. You're not taught to be an entrepreneur. You're not taught to be an inventor. They want you to just work for them and work and just get a nice job and get good benefits and be a servant. They don't want you to own an empire. They don't want you to own a business, because if that was the case, every child, black, white, Puerto Rican, whatever, go to school, they would teach you that. Only certain schools, when it ain't no public school teaching no education like that. So they want you to be a servant. They want you to be a janitor. It go back to the 1950s. They'll tell us we couldn't be president. What you need to do is just get a job and think about being a janitor. You know what I'm saying? This is the best back in 1950 we could look at. Going to their school system to be a janitor.
And now, how about this? How about this now?
But
now,
who believed? But hold on, who believed system was that? And people believe that, and that's all it thought they. And who looked like me, that's all it could be in life.
That's and right. Deion Boone says they want workers, not thinkers, and that's true. And that's why the school system has not evolved tremendously since. It's probably the same design when our parents were in school. Now we go back and we look at, different shows like Little House on the Prairie and stuff like that. It's evolved since then because they had like a singular classroom where everybody was in regardless of what grade you were in. But now they have evolved it to a certain point where you move based on this bell. You got X amount of time to do this. You got to go to the bathroom through this window. You got to eat during this window. These are the things, there's certain things that they put before you because they want you to operate within a certain system. And this is just the system of the government. It makes it organized. It's like, okay, we're going to put a little bit of money, and most jobs pay enough for you to survive. You got to be highly skilled and highly valuable for you to get into something where you're going to really be able to make a tremendous amount of income. But most jobs put enough money in you for you to survive so that you can go back and do what you've been taught to do since pre-K or kindergarten. And think about this. I think pre-K probably started, which is pre-kindergarten. I think that probably started around the time that we were coming up, maybe late 60s. And I don't know this. I'm throwing this out based on what I think, because when I remember. So late 60s, early 70s were pre-K. That's going to school maybe like a half a day or something like that as a 4-year-old before you go to kindergarten. Well, now they have moved it back. Now 3-year-olds are going to what they call in school, and it's to implement the infrastructure into them as early as possible, because the formative years have the biggest impact of what you're going to believe, how you move, and how you operate throughout the world. And I think some instances there's some things that's good, but then on the flip side of that, there are some things that are very bad, because we've got we have people that have so much intelligence in them, and it can be stifled by what they were given earlier to kill their creativity and their zeal.
Well, hell, parents are doing that. You can see a situation where a kid falls down, and depending on how the parent reacts, that's how the kid reacts. So if a kid is walking and bumps into the wall and falls down, they hesitate. They look at their parent, and the parent run to them and look all excited. They start crying. That's teaching them fear. And you look at it now in the education system in the last 10, 12 years, now they're teaching kids about sexuality. What 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 year old was thinking about sexuality? Who? I mean, at that age, we weren't thinking about that. We weren't worried about whether, I identify as him, her, it, or they.
Right.
It's not something that we were worried about. So why is that narrative being pushed now? Where did that come from?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, Dion made a good point here. From 0 to 7 is the age to program your child. That's where the most highest influence. That's why it's easier for young children. They can learn languages when they're in that window, and it's harder for us to do it after we get outside of a certain window and we become engulfed into other things in the world. It's just more work. These are the most influential times in a child's life and their development. Man, I wish we had access to Malara right now, because I know she got some really super information on this child development piece.
I wanted to say, I mean, I agree that there these days, I say over the past like maybe the past 20 or so years, that they've concentrated on building a system where the kids are taught to go on career paths that focus on building construction and in sciences that are geared towards focusing on infrastructure and growing and sustaining the country. I agree. The inventiveness and the creativity that's been condensed to wanting to be an entertainer, whatever, into entertainment business, whether it's comedy, whether it's being a singer, or being a movie star. It's the wanting to go into other avenues of creativity has been diverted to that. And because it's all basically, it's been brought down to a bottom dollar. It's about, you want the dollar. You want to get rich. You want to, hey, be a athlete. Be a football player, be a basketball player, or even a hockey player, baseball player. It's no real push to say, okay, well, hey, why don't you explore the sciences of like creating something that'll benefit the community in a whole. It's always that focus on those things that are popular. I don't know whether it's through they or if it's just because of how the environment that we're in. Because sometimes when you're dealing with talk about, oh yeah, well, I want to be a scientist or something like that, then if it's not your parents encouraging you, it's nobody or a teacher that's really seeing that you are doing something that is that's really pushing the boundaries. No one is gonna encourage you to pursue things that would be of that type of nature.
That goes back to your parental obligation. Because if you see something in your child, then you as the parent are supposed to steer them and guide them into that direction. So back when we talking about belief systems, right? You have to create a belief in your child that they can be. And we can't, the athletes and the musician and all of that thing. That's what's put out there. That's what is popular. That's what's based on from what they're seeing from the standpoint of media. But your parents are supposed to be guiding you in something that's going to be good for you and giving you something where you can have a contribution to the world. So it's bigger. And that's why, I always say and will continue to say that parents need to be, whether they co-parenting, whether they're together or whatever, they need to be exhausted in raising their children because you do not have a lot of time to shape them. Once they get on a path, that's the path they're on. And as Dion stated earlier,
0 to 7.
the program is 0 to 7. It may be a little longer in some, a little, because we got different maturation. Some kids are more mature. Some kids, it's different. But ballpark, I would say that's a good guideline. But we have to be, involved in providing resources for our children in the paths that we see their talents.
All
and
right.
sometimes we can't. And that's when it goes back to the village, the community, like what we have here, a community. It goes back to the village because somebody may see something in your child that you don't.
All right.
And they can bring it to you and say, hey, look, your kid will be great doing this or doing that. And it may be something that you didn't see, but it's something that comes easy to that child. Go ahead, Jilla.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, back to the school education. I know everybody's talking. How come the school never teach us how to invest in stocks? How the school never taught us the value of what to do with money? Why the school never taught us how to take our money to build up a community? Why the school they never tell us how we can get out the ghetto? Why the schools never taught? See, these are things that don't nobody question. Follow the dialogue of belief of a school system, that the education and getting a good job with benefits. That's all you need, And to me, that's the foolishness. And then we got kids coming straight out the projects that was hypertension, running around in the school acting crazy. And then here's a teacher that's not even cool with the black, culture to tell the black parent that you need to put them on medication. And they put the kids on Ritalin, made them walk around slobbering like zombies because they believed that what that woman or that teacher or what they told them that was wrong with their child, because all he probably was full of caffeine and sugar at the time and acting all crazy and wild, he was drugged in America and treated like a guinea pig with that substance called Ritalin. Do you know the effect that was on young men back in them days? See, this is stuff that y'all, I believe that, and then people were so crazy about it. Some people didn't even care. All they wanted was the check for their child, giving them drugs.
Well, see, that's a whole
the reality here now.
Right, but that's a whole.
No, we talking about believing because they
I understand what you're saying.
What these people told them that was good and beneficial for their child, and a lot of young melanated children were ministrated in that way and got medicine like that and was affected. Because even though they couldn't comprehend in their culture or whatever they were saying in the book, it don't mean they were slow. You never looked at this person. Maybe it was too active for you. Maybe he had too much energy for you. Maybe this kid had something else. And see, as parents, we didn't understand this because we are just listening to advices and what these people thinking, and because we believe these people are specialists, they know what they're talking about.
But you the parent.
Well, I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Believe come in there, man. You'll see somebody in a white jacket and got a document behind him, and he's supposed to be the professor of knowledge of all. You'll believe in it. If he tell you to cut your toes off and ain't nothing wrong with your toes, you're gonna cut it. If he tell you to tell a woman to lose her whatever, they gonna do it because he's a specialist. They don't.
I like what Keith just said right there.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to read Keith's comment.
I like that.
So what Keith Robertson, personal fin coach, says is regardless of the system, it's still up to the parent to teach the child.
Right.
In the school system, regardless of what's taught, it's still the minimum in many cases.
Exactly.
So I
But what
agree
I was
with him
just saying,
1000%. Like that's
most
why I say
parents
parents.
listen to what they are told from the school system. If you didn't abide by certain
Listen,
school system, the teachers could report certain stuff and you would be held accountable. Even if they felt like it was child abuse and it wasn't even a child abuse, they can call somebody and send them in your house and snatch your kids.
about what we talking about now, Chris? We done went off a
No,
cliff.
I'm just saying believe him. It's all
We're talking
going in
about
the
belief
system.
system,
We
and I
talking about
want
belief, man.
I
Belief.
want
I'm
to
just
build
saying
on
you
that too.
believe. The problem is we talking, like I said, Raymond said this is a broad situation to talk about.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah,
focusing
and
on a
I'm not
certain
trying to
area.
get off the
Go ahead.
nerd of what we're talking about. I'm just saying we believe in the system and we believe in the people and we believe that what these people are giving us was the best for us and best for the people in our community. Some of the things and the vices they have said and done has hindered our children. And our children was used to these experimental drugs, such as Ritalin, because I had to see my little cousin and I had to say something to my aunt, yo, get him off. Because, yeah, he used to get on my nerves. He was wild. He was fast. He would talk. But when they put him on Ritalin and I'm seeing him slaving and I know that ain't him, it was crazy. I had to witness a child. And I like, no, I had to tell her, please, get him off this. I don't care what they saying. Don't do this. This ain't right. And most people don't understand. And Cat Williams even talked about it in a joke about his daughter. And we didn't know this, but they was experimenting on our children. And to the day, they still doing it because we believe in these people and their system is going to help us and bring us to the promised land and give us justice and give us 40 acres and a mule and give us everything in our rights. And we still believe in. All the way to right now, a fuss about Donald Trump and Condoleezza Rice, whatever, we still believe in that something's getting ready to change.
Well, let me
Believe
back
it.
up. Let me
Rely
back
and
up.
believe it.
Let me
But,
back
I
up
mean,
for a second because I want to
yeah.
go back. And when we were talking about the kids and their belief system, the big problem is the parents are still learning. The parents are still learning from a false belief system. And what I mean by that is Chris was talking about kids being put on drugs or medication based on how they were acting. Well, the doctor is the gospel to most adults. If you feel some pain in your leg, the first thing in your mind is I need to go to the doctor. And what I don't understand is how can the doctor tell you what's going on with you? You go to the doctor, you explain what's going on. He looks in his little computer, and then this is what you're dealing with. How the hell you know what I'm dealing with? How can you tell me what's wrong with me? And I go back to the situation of when my dad was diagnosed with cancer. This man, for several years, went to the doctor complaining about his sinuses. For several years. Finally, he was recommended to a specialist. And the specialist tells him he's in fourth stage. Fourth stage. They sent this man home to die and said the chemo would prolong his life. And he believed it. He believed it. And a few months later, we were burying our father. So all I'm saying is parents can only go by what belief system has been instilled in them. So we go back to, is this system used as a form of control? And now, to compound that, our kids are so wrapped up in this thing called social media, which controls the narrative. And whatever narrative they put forward, people believe in it. Now, I'm not saying that things that they put out, there's not some truth to this stuff. But you do realize media outlets use the media to control people. I don't care what you say, whether you want to talk about the presidential situation, whether you want to talk about Diddy, whether you want to talk about thug situation, whatever you want to, you have to understand that these narratives being pushed want to sway the public's opinion. And that's a form of control. But no, we don't think about it at all. We so busy getting wrapped up in a lot of this stuff. We running out talking about, I knew Diddy was doing this for years. Or, this would be the right president for us. Or, Thug has such and such murdered because he ain't wanting to testify. All this stuff because this narrative, this big engine called media is pushing these narratives, and now you are expert on it based off of what you saw on the internet. Come on, y'all. Come on.
Nah, no evidence, no proof, but they believe. But like he was saying, I mean, a lot of people putting up some lot of good stuff up here. I mean, there's a couple of things I done read that was good, you know, and they putting up some good stuff. We are, like I said, believing in something. Who was one of them said something about believing? I was reading, but believing. He said we believe somebody else until we get it, you know, until we learn ourselves, and then we see different, and then we start knowing. A lot of times, this is a hard conversation, really, because as little children and growing up in any system and listening to a lot of people, even when they are wrong, we forgive them. It's just no different in the church. You listen to your pastor, and your pastor tell you this, and your pastor this, and you keep calling him a man of God, and your pastor. Then you find your pastor and did some wrong stuff, and even maybe had sex with a minor and this and that. And some people, because they believe so hard, they'll just dismiss it. Oh, you got to forgive him because God and this and that. And I'm like, no. You know, you giving him a green light because of his title. God didn't crack the sky and said nothing. You believe that this man was a man of God because he told you he was a man of God. God didn't crack the sky himself and say, yes, this is a man of God I truly love, and y'all people just listen to him and love him because this is who it's the man I chose to preach the real gospel. All the other pastors don't mean nothing. And God got the light and the sun in your eyes, and God, this is me, God, telling you this man is righteous and holy. But y'all just go by because he told you it was righteous and holy. Because he can get up there and he know the Bible, the devil know the Bible back and forth. Because he can get up there and say a sermon. A lot of people can say sermons. You got to know their hearts and their intentions. And then you got people laying hands on you. I don't know if this man a pedophile. I don't know this man that got sexual problems. And then he praying on me, spirits jumping in me. You don't know this man good at hypnosis. Some people can whisper in your ears. You need to study hypnosis, people. Some people can look in your eyes and say something, how you jumping and saying things and giving this money away, and you don't even know you hypnotized. A lot of hypnosis don't take number 2, 3, 4 seconds to get you under there like that. And every time he snap his fingers after whispering in your ear, you jumping around, flipping and rolling all over the floor. And you think you back to yourself. You don't know when this man didn't use hypnosis on you.
You brought up a good point just now, Chris.
But then we ain't even going in that direction.
No, but you did. You brought up a good point, and I'm not even talking about from a religious standpoint. You have to be careful what you listen to and what you digest from different individuals, because depending on their spirit and what they have going on, you don't want that to become a part of your life. You listen to people and you get caught up in what they're saying and what they believe in, and you be like, that makes sense. That makes sense. But you have to be real careful about who you let in your life, what you listen to, what you let in your home, what you have around your kids, because that can change your whole dynamic. And you have to be very, very careful, because like Chris said, hypnosis is real. That's real. And people may not believe in it, but it's real. But like I said earlier, just to go back to the media piece of it, we're in an age of technology now. And Big said it earlier. As a parent, you should be exhausted. You really should be exhausted making sure that you pour into your kids. A lot of times nowadays, kids are being raised by social media, whether it's through a tablet, cell phone, or a computer. And they're learning a lot of stuff. And you think it's cute. You see these kids on social media doing certain dances. You see other kids on social media using curse words, and people are laughing about it. And you see kids, like I said earlier, at 4, 5, and 6 years old, saying that, you know, they are talking about their sexuality, just all these things. And you have to be careful about this, because now you've taken the tool of a parent away, and the kids are being raised by technology and social media. And how is that affecting the community moving forward? How is it affecting the community moving forward?
Go ahead, read that, Big.
Let me say, I see a message from Keith Robinson, personal fin coach, where he says media is used as a weapon, and I think it can be used as a weapon because, but it's not just used as a weapon. So I just wanted to bring it up. I agree, it can be. It's one of the softest, most controllable programming mechanisms there is, like TV. And we can get into, and I don't know if I want to shift gears right now on this, but we can get into the commentary of programming, because if we pay attention to a lot of the words that are used in our language, they mean what they mean, even though it may have an alternate meaning. So when we talk about TV, when TV was created, before that there was radio, but it was always programming. That's what it was always about, was programming. They were testing these things out. Okay. And TV programming, it gets you on it's just like at school. When that bell rings, when you look at the TV schedule, we used to have this thing called the green sheet growing up. Y'all remember the green sheet?
Yeah, I remember that.
They used to tell you what was coming on and what time. So every time, every week at a certain time, this program would come on, and that was what was shown. But it's also what was in that piece of content at that time was slowly, shaping the way you think about things. That's where stereotypes come from. They come from television programming. Otherwise, we will only be able to judge people on how we know people, not based on, because if you had never seen a murderer, a thief or whatever people deem as the bad people, you would never deem anyone that way because it wasn't programmed into your brain. That came from TV. So in that regard, Keith's message is right on point, because it's like, media is a weapon at that point when they start shaping certain things. It's like we hear the former president talking about people from different countries eating your pets. People believe this stuff because it's on and it comes through a media channel, and they can continue to play it over and over and over again. That's the impact of what can be done with this. Let me catch up with some of these messages that we had come in. So basically, we were talking about something. Keith says, doctor is practicing medicine. That's something we really have to think about, because it is a practice. They are practicing. They are not gurus. Like Derek said, they go to a Google short, they go to a book or whatever, but they are practicing. So them having a medical practice, that is exactly what it is. They are practicing to try to find solutions to certain.
They are practicing on people.
Yeah,
that's right. What they're learning. They learning as they practicing on you, and people ain't catching it. They going there like these pupils are. They God sent and God themselves getting ready to get healed from these people. Then after they done mutilated you with chemo and radiation, well, we done did all we can do. Just let him rest, enjoy the rest of his time.
Here's another comment we got from. I'm not going. I'm gonna skip that message. So we gonna go.
No. Just go ahead and do it. Just go ahead.
Okay. All right. Cool. Okay. So Porto Paul says, "What are we talking about? Just got in. Number one, well, you do the anti-medicine. We're not anti-medicine. We're having a discussion, which you are more than welcome to be a positive participant in. But we're not anti-medicine. But all things don't work for all people, and we know that. So, moving on. Ronnie Light. Parents are pawns in the system because the system is created to make parents work to death to pay the bills. And when the parents return home, they are tired, very tired. This is by design." Now, Ronnie, we agree on a lot, but this one I'm gonna have to disagree with you on, because as we know, let me just say this: we have choices. We have choices, and some of the choice comes along with we'd rather have the Benz than the Camry. You get the Camry, it's cheaper payment.
I don't know if that's
from point A to point B.
I don't know if that's a good argument, Big. I'm just saying. I know what you're trying to say.
I'm just gonna take my head on that one, man.
Go ahead.
So y'all disagree? You couldn't get a 3-bedroom instead of the 5-bedroom?
That ain't got to be the attention. Maybe their job wasn't giving them the money, and maybe they got to maintain what they had for their kids. I don't watch a friend of mine's, man, a good dude. He worked a place, man, and he took care of 3 kids and a wife and kept a house off of $12 an hour for over 10 years. By the time he got an opportunity to go somewhere else, the job wanted to keep him. He left. Then he worked that job and he made more money than he ever made, and he was comfortable, but he didn't like the responsibility of dealing with people. Because as he became a head supervisor of the people, he realized even the people around him was acting like children, and he didn't have time to make sure they was working and doing his work. So then his company gave him back because they realized how much he was really worth. They gave him a great amount of money in the 20 some dollars now, because they seen he was a great asset. He never complained, never cried, went to work all the time. But he maintained a family, a house, and a piece of car in which we could get another car off for $12 an hour, man. So you can't say because somebody want a Bentley or somebody want a Mercedes or somebody want this car. People get where they can get in and fit in and try to work their way up. Everybody just don't get it because they know somebody and jump into a great situation. Some people really start from the bottom and work their way up.
I think you're missing what I'm saying.
No, I'm just saying, you saying I know you saying you taking the scenario of them working because they want a bigger house. You don't know what somebody got, or even if he got out of jail or he was with some people and he didn't do nothing, he didn't want to snitch on his brother and family and took it and had a charge, and he had to work from the bottom and work his way up, man. You can't say because they working and they ain't at home and can't raise their kid because he got to work 2 jobs.
But you said his wife was home, right?
He can survive with his children,
home, right? He did all of that so his wife could be home, right, with the kids.
His wife may have to work a job. You saying every wife now they ain't got to work? Some women want to work.
You're telling the story.
I'm just saying. No, his wife really.
I think we kind of get it.
We are.
His wife had a medical situation, couldn't work. It's not even that.
Look. How about this? How about this? What are some good belief systems?
Oh man,
the
word belief.
Hey, look. I mean, I'm just saying.
Look, I'm gonna tell you a good belief, not a system, but I believe
not something negative. Not something
like
negative.
Martin Luther King. I believe the guns gonna go down and we gonna stop killing each other. I believe tomorrow people gonna stop getting high and dying from fentanyl. I believe the marriage rate gonna go back up and everybody gonna be lovey-dovey. I believe. If you don't believe, I believe for you. I believe.
Pastor,
you know, one of the
pessimists.
Go ahead, Raven.
No. I'm just saying. Well, okay. If we're not gonna go there, well, what is the best avenue to go to be dissuaded from believing something that is negative and not to your benefit? How about that?
I can tell you one thing to believe.
Not belief.
Huh?
Not belief. Something that's concrete that can put you and steer you in a positive direction. To not be dissuaded to believe in things that may be deemed negative in the overall scheme of things.
I don't understand the way you ask.
I'm saying, what are some factual things that could
if it's something you're interested in, find some books and some information to read. What are you pointing to us? Comments?
No, I'm pointing to Chris. Tell him, Chris. Tell him, Chris. Because you know you want to tell him, Chris.
He's gonna come back to the narrative if I said who wrote the book first and what the information is.
I understand that.
I'm gonna tell you this. Honestly, I was working somewhere and somebody always told us this is how you win over the people, and this is how you get people to work. You gotta use these rebuttal with the people. And I'm around here working with dudes smoking weed, man. What the hell you want, man? Everything he's dealing with a Caucasian type of activity with people, and I'm dealing with the hardcore activity with people. And what he's saying, it might work for them, but what I'm saying, man, get out of here, man. Get away with me. They ain't trying to hear that. So it's like that. This is how you get success. This is how you get business and all this old stuff. Everybody's way of success is totally different. What works, like Raymond said, for one person might not work for the next person. The way you got to find yourself and find yourself and what you good at. You can't, because somebody else good at selling herbs don't mean you could sell herbs. Because that man good at basketball don't mean you gonna make it an NBA. Because that man could sing don't mean you could sing. Because that man could build a house don't mean you could build a house. Because that man got a mind to design a new car don't mean you could design a new car. Finding where you good at and you do it.
I got a
you
great
how to do
question
it.
for you,
Some
Killer.
people gonna pick up and do it, but everybody can't replicate everything. Because if that was the
Killer.
case, it'd be a billion billionaires in this world following somebody else like Rockefeller and everything else. We would go out here, start our own money, get our own print, do our own thing, run our own government. Stop saying everybody gonna do the same thing everybody else gonna do. It's impossible.
I done forgot my damn question.
Look. Let me say this. Look, truthfully, all knowledge ain't good knowledge, but knowledge is knowledge. If you can extrapolate from it and get what you can and learn and continue to excel within you, whatever you learn. All right, well, let's go with this. All right, we all learn a basic knowledge, a basic understanding. Not saying all of it was true, but a basic knowledge that led us to where we are today. If you don't get no knowledge, you don't know nothing. You out there in the wilderness, nowhere, unless you got there gonna have someone to teach you how to go about living and building and growing. But it's just that what you learn is a foundation. When the bastardized school system gave you a base knowledge. Now, when you started growing and learning, you started understanding a lot more, and you learned and started pivoting to wherever you know that true knowledge is at, if you really seeking it. When you really look for that, that's when you're going to say, okay, this is not right. This might be right. And this is where something I can grab onto and hold on to it and build from it. You can always, it's always that way.
I like that, man. I like that thumbs up that popped up.
You know, one thing that would be good, because Keith and Ronnie, I mean, there's been some great comments in the comments. I want to appreciate, say thank you to everyone who's been commenting in the chat. It's been some good stuff. I couldn't post up everything, but we appreciate y'all posting in the chat. But one thing that Keith Robinson said, and Ronnie kind of seconded that emotion, is know thyself. And I think that will be a great topic next week.
But
hey, we don't.
I wanted to say one thing. I know something.
I'm just saying to discuss, because we don't have enough time to get into it now. We can't get into it.
I wanted to just say this. I know we talking about
belief. You always say that, Chilla. I just want to say
we talk about belief in this, but I can't. It just, when I study history, it just screws my mind up for to see. And black people always talk about Black Wall Street, Black Wall Street, Black Wall Street, Black Wall Street. But to see in the 1920s, and I've been sending videos of the last week about that before immigration, in the 1920s, right after slavery, if all this occurred, how we constructed our own banks, how we constructed our own school system, how we had our bus systems, how we had everything, our policing system, a whole city full of millionaires at this time. And where did the education came from, or the schooling? We was better off in a time back then to be so creative, with no narrative, with nobody trying to teach us how to follow their dialogues and giving their books, because we didn't have their books in them days. We had more in them times, just knowing, because we already knew what to do. Just to have a city that people still in history that they try to shade because they don't even want us to get back to that stage. Then you got Rosewood, and it was multiple places all over the whole America was like this, that they destroyed and tore it down and then put us in their system. And this is where we at talking now. This is because we believe in now instead of knowing. We believe in. We knew back then what to do. We knew back then how to run the world. We knew back then how to build a system. We knew back then how to run a bank. We knew back then how to manipulate to keep the money going in our community. We knew back then how to stand together. We knew back then how to build a whole
that part there.
that people still talking about today. And we lost now because we believe in and follow another system. And we need somebody else to lead us. And we still going in the same rabbit hole further and further and further and further and further in that. We weren't in that back then when we were doing it ourselves.
I would say this. Because
but y'all want to believe in something. Y'all keep believing in that. Believe in your stuff. Like
preach, Pastor, preach.
They telling you, know thyself. When you know thyself, they've been holding it to you the whole time. When you know thyself and know who you are, you ain't even gonna have to go them routes no more. They are relevant to you. They are relevant to you now because you don't know that self. Once you wake up and know who you are, everything they trying to do and everything that existing will pre-start existing because we will come back where we supposed to be and doing what we supposed to be doing.
And he takes a sip of water, ladies.
Amen.
Nigga Raymond being funny, he's sarcastic. Don't pay him no money. That's just Raymond.
Hey, look though. Look, it looked like the chat, man. I think Know Thyself would be a great conversation to have next week. I'm just saying.
It don't matter, man. It don't matter to me. I'm down, I'm down to talk. My whole thing is, even when I'm up here, I want people to think. I mean, don't get mad at nothing, neither. Ain't nobody up here say. The whole objective, because we had these conversations on the phone, and this is where all this started. We always chatted up like this. Me, Raymond, Big, and my brother. We always chatted like this. And some of the conversation was so great that, we just feel like this was started a podcast. Now, the thing is, when I keep talking and Derek keep talking, and even Big, we all trying to draw Jews, or we all got different perspectives, and certain people follow what we saying, but we want my whole agenda, and I know some of the people up here agenda is for you to think, ask questions, know some things, stop believing in everything, get some facts, do some research. It's not hard. It's information out here, but some of us are too lazy just to look up something. We just like you scared, and we supposed to get on the situation of fear. Man, fear is an illusion. Fear is an illusion, and it's programmed in us. And you can't let things be. It's nothing to be scared of. And most of us are scared, and we can't move forward because somebody put fear in us. Because you think about the repercussions. You think about what they're gonna do. You think about how they're gonna stop us from progressing. Every time, even when I talk to Jews who my father aged, and I'll be like, look, let's just destroy the system. I mean, the Constitution, when they created it, we were 3/5 of a human. Why wouldn't we destroy that? And if they want us to be equal, why wouldn't we all come together and make a new Constitution for it to be equalized for all the people? Oh, no, it's like you still want to hold on to something that they created. Why can't we all come together and create a system? Why we got to always be, just follow what they say, vote for the two knuckleheads they gave us? Why can't somebody else in this land be greater to run the country? They give you two people. It's like America Idol. And they build these two people up. One that hate each other. You're on one side or the other. Why can't somebody just emerge to bring everybody together? I keep saying this. Why can't one person bring all of us together? Why we got to be divided? Because apparently we can't see eye to eye with either one of these persons. We need somebody strong enough to bring the people together so that America, like you said, could be good or whatever we want it to be. But we keep letting them tell us because you believe they know better than y'all know what to do. They put two puppies up here, Beavis and Butthead, and y'all still want them to be the leaders of this country. This the best. For real. Y'all children or y'all men and women? Are y'all leaders or y'all followers? Because all I see every day is a bunch of followers. When we going to become leaders again?
Hey, this has been a great episode. I really just threw it out there because I wanted to promote a sense of thought. I remember being younger and I was a big wrestling fan. Actually, me and my brother were big wrestling fans. And I remember the day that we found out that the WWF and the NWA were fake. And, you know, a lot of the things they were doing, we thought were real. I remember I was a big Ric Flair fan, and a lot of people like Hulk Hogan, and a lot of
Woo!
people like Dusty Rhodes and Ronnie Garvin, the Hands of Steel or Stone, the Hands of Stone. And I say all that to say that was the first eye opener to me as a youth, that we were raised watching these events thinking that they were real, and then finding out that they weren't. They were actually programs, like Big would say. And I say all that to say that this is just to make you think. Don't just accept what you are told. I encourage you to go a little further and use your mind. Chris just talked about the politicians that are put in front of us, the choices that we're giving. We're given two choices. And like Chris said, why don't we have a choice to bring everybody together? That's why we're here. We're here to promote thought, community, and togetherness. That is the purpose of the Get Established show. We're not here to tear down anything or anyone. We're about love. We're about community, and that's all we're about. So I guess with that being said,
You had it, bro.
I guess with that being said, I'm
Go ahead.
gonna drop this on you. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Get established.
Peace to everybody that joined in tonight. One love.
Thanks for joining the Get Established show. It's been a spirited debate today. We look forward to y'all coming back next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll be here. Hopefully, we'll be talking about Know Thyself. We shall see. I got to talk to my brother because they don't want to do that. But we're going to see. Y'all want to talk about it? We're going to talk about it. So again, continue to like, share, and subscribe if you have not yet. And thank you again for joining the Get Established show. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.